Oh, did you have a question?
I mean,
We talked about sharing before this. Well, we have a worldwide fan base, so.
she wanted to be the star of this one, so I've been letting her.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, good.
No, me. Be ready to edit this dude out.
It's not like I'm in the witness protection program or something.
Yeah.
It's okay.
He's so annoyed with us.
Put that in a blooper. Just kidding.
Dang it, I messed it up.
Don't put that in there.
Is that how my voice sounds?
Oh, no. Yeah.
You can edit this, right?
Hold on. There's something in my eye.
See, here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Kenokla Chatter.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Tim.
And today we are sitting down with Joey Hudson. He moved back to Caldwell a few years ago, born and raised here. And he is the president of the Caldwell Care Network and the hospital board. And he is sharing with us some different things with the Care Network that we did not know about. And we just talked about some Caldwell stuff.
It was a great conversation. Learned a lot about what the Caldwell Care Network does for our community and surrounding communities. Yeah. Stay tuned.
Thank you for sitting down with us today, Joey. Let's start off by talking about the Caldwell Care Network. So I did find this little blurb on the Caldwell Regional Medical Center's website. And it was just a one-page thing because I was wondering how the Caldwell Care Network got started and if it's if it was just Caldwell or it's a bigger piece of like a Kansas network.
Yeah, my understanding is that it started out back during the administration of George Bush. It was part of his 1,000 Points of Light, which was a way to stimulate volunteerism and good works in communities all across the country. And so a group of people here in Caldwell got together and actually started the Caldwell Care Network during that time period. And they were recognized as one of those 1,000 Points of Light under George Bush, the first George Bush, George Sr., during his time period. And so back then it started, they did all kinds of things with the Caldwell Care Network in terms of volunteerism in Caldwell. If you were an elderly person and your screen door was broken, they would find some volunteers to go and fix that. So my understanding is that's how it started. And then over time it sort of evolved and connected with the Caldwell Hospital, and it became more of what it is today, which essentially are two things. One, we loan out durable medical equipment to folks, things like wheelchairs, canes, shower chairs, those kinds of items. And then the second part of it is if you're 60 or over and you use the facilities, use the services at the Caldwell Regional Medical Center, we can give you a ride. We can give you a ride there. We can give you a ride, as far as Wichita or Enid, at no cost to the person. And we're funded through the county, through senior services. We have volunteer drivers. It's just essentially we reimburse our drivers for mileage. And so that's how I got started and kind of where we're at today.
Do you have to be, and you don't have to be a senior citizen to receive the free ride or the durable medical equipment, do you?
The free ride, you have to be 60 or over.
Okay.
But the durable medical equipment, we loan out to anybody that needs it. And the folks here in Caldwell are very generous. Almost all of the equipment that we have has been donated. Somebody's, had some injury and, had a broken foot and bought a pair of crutches, and then they donate it back to us. And we also take donations, and we have a lot of generous people that have donated over the years. So we recycle and cycle out our equipment and buy new equipment from time to time as we get donations.
Oh, did you have a question?
I mean,
we talked about sharing before this.
She wanted to be the star of this one, so I've been letting her. No, you said loan. Is it only loan or because I feel like I've heard because my mom has used the Care Network and she's gotten a shower chair, but I feel like it wasn't just loaned, like it was given, but that could have been.
No, we let people have the equipment for as long as they need it, and when it's no longer needed, typically families call us and we'll either come pick it up or they bring it back to us. But yeah, there's no stipulation on it. We really truly want to help people, and so we don't want people to have to worry about any of those kinds of things. If they're in need of something and we have it, we'll get it to them, and they can keep it as long as they need it. If we don't have it, We're pretty good about reaching out to different groups in town, and again, people are very generous. Churches have been generous to us. People, in their estate have, given money to us, and so if there's something that we need, we're pretty good about going out and asking folks, and we're hopefully able to get it for them.
Nice.
So on here, it's what's listed from the website: wheelchairs, bedside potty chairs, walkers, shower benches, crutches, and more. Can you think of any other equipment that you guys
we have?
Canes.
Yeah, all different sizes, crutches, different sizes. We also have knee scooters, which are, there's a lot of orthopedic surgery going on now, knee replacements, ankle replacements, those kind of things. So we have 2 or 3 of those in stock. So, if somebody has a knee surgery and they need one of those knee scooters, we can loan it to them.
Do you have one of those? Well, I guess that would count as the walker, the ones with the chairs and the wheels.
We do have some of those. We need some more of those. So anybody out there, if you'd like to donate, we'll take your money. Or if you have one you're not using, that's in good condition, that has the chair and the brakes, we could use a few more of those.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of any person, or without naming, where they've come back and told you how big of an impact the Caldwell Care Network has had on them or their situation?
Oh, sure. Without naming names, we have family members that, after someone passes, they will contact us and, come back, and very, very, grateful that we were able to loan them the equipment to help ease, make it easier for that person as they were, end of life type thing. Recently, good news story, we had a very generous person donate an almost brand new, very expensive lift chair, that you plug in and that lifts up so that an elderly person can sit, in a recliner and get up. And we were able to basically donate that to a person that needed it here in the community at no cost. And those chairs are several $1,000s. So, and we were able to take a picture of the person in the chair that had received it and, email that to the person that donated it so they could see that we made that connection.
Oh, that's good.
It was awesome. Great, very, very generous, because those things are, again, several $1,000s.
I will tell you, my family's personally used the Care Network, and the rides and the medical equipment my mom has needed. We've never had an issue calling you guys up and you helping us out, and personally been affected by it, so I know exactly what
that's true, and that's what we want to do. That's what we should be doing. So, I think we're all fortunate. People in Caldwell are generous, to be able to, support something like a new hospital and a new clinic, and remodel the school, new daycare center, newer swimming pool, our community building, all of those things are through the generosity of a lot of people and through the taxpayers. And I think it's what makes Caldwell different. And if you drive around this region and look at different towns, there are towns that, are dying, and there are towns that got it going on. And Caldwell right now, I think, has it going on, and it gives us a real shot for the future when we have those kinds of facilities and services. We're all in competition. All of our towns are in competition with everyone, and to have a shot for Caldwell to keep growing, we have to have those kinds of facilities to get, whether you're in the retirement age like I am and you're thinking about moving back, or you're new, younger, you want to have a family, you want to buy a house, those kinds of things. If we don't have those kind of facilities in town, we don't have a shot to compete. And so we do now have a shot to compete, and the Caldwell Hospital and Clinic is a big part of that. So is Can Okla.
I also have to imagine, the free rides, that has to make a big impact, especially being such a rural community and having, we're an hour away from most larger hospitals. So
yeah, and there are people, in town that don't have family here. They may have family that, live, quite a distance away. And so, often it's just they're sort of on their own, and, they have some necessary medical appointment in, specialty places in Wichita. We go to Wichita quite a bit for specialty services, and, just knowing that's, we're their connection, we're their ride to be able to get back and forth to get those services. So, yeah, that's a good feeling, and we have, shout out to our drivers. We have 7 volunteer drivers right now. We could always use a few more. We're recruiting a few more, but those drivers are phenomenal. Very kind, generous people. Give of their time and take those people, to those specialty appointments. And we know we're making a difference for them. And as a person who's getting older, I'm hoping that we'll keep this going because someday I might need a ride also.
Yeah. I was going to ask that. You have 7 volunteers now that can drive. How does that, do they call this number and then this person, is this the hospital number, the 845-6492?
Yes, it is. We use we use that hospital number because we know it's always going to be there. And the folks out there that work out there that answer the phone are tremendous, and they help us a lot. Somebody needs a ride, they call that number. They get in touch with the driver. We just sort of go down a list whose turn it is next time, and make that connection between the driver and the person that's needing the ride. And so if there's somebody that needs that service, they just call the hospital number, and we make the connection and hopefully get them where they need to be.
If they use the services at the Caldwell Regional Medical Center, then they can use the Caldwell Care Network?
Correct. Yeah, we're not in competition with the local hospital. We're in partnership with the local hospital and local clinic. And so, for example, if you want to have a doctor in Wichita and you want the services of that doctor in Wichita without going through Caldwell, we're sorry, we're not going to give you a ride. Now you're in competition with us. And so it's a community-based, organization, and we're here to support the community, and that means we're going to support the local hospital and the local clinic.
Which does mean it goes outside the city limits. So if I am a patient who lives in South Haven or Bremen, or as long as I'm using the Caldwell Regional, then that I can be a part of this network.
Yeah, we're funded through Sumner County, so we essentially operate in Sumner County. So we have taken people that live, that are out in the country, they're in Drury or South Haven or Argonia. We can give, and they use the services at the Caldwell Clinic and Hospital, then we can go and give them a ride. And we've done that before.
I know you mentioned you have 7 drivers, but within the whole care network, I'm not going back to that. No. Okay. No. How large is the network? Like how many are behind the scenes or within the care network?
So on the care network, we do have a board, 7 board members, all volunteers. None of us are paid. The only pay involved is just the mileage reimbursement. But we have a board. We meet usually monthly. Sometimes, like this year in February, the weather was bad, so we didn't meet in February. But we usually meet monthly or every other month. We review our finances. We're a nonprofit, so we have to meet all those obligations. We do a monthly report to the county through the senior services. Again, that's how we're funded, and they. That board has to review and approve all purchases. So if we get a donation of money and, we need to buy some new equipment, that board, reviews those requests, and they have to make those kinds of decisions and approvals. And then, beyond the drivers and beyond that board, then we also rely heavily on the nice folks at the Caldwell Clinic and Medical Center that are answering the phone to kind of help us keep everything coordinated. We also use the hospital purchasing folks. They're tremendous about being able to get the best equipment at the best price for us. And so, when we had a recent donation and we needed to buy some new crutches, I was just able to pick up the phone, talk to the hospital purchasing people. They went out, did their thing, got us the best price, ordered it, and then we reimbursed the hospital from, the Care Network account. So they're extremely helpful.
Our matching funds, which has been going on for a couple decades now, you do know that is, I don't think I've seen the Caldwell Care Network in recent years do any matching funds where you use your donations for a special project, or if you needed to make a big purchase of, let's say, another lift chair, we do match up to $5,000 in that. And you probably already know that, but I'll just throw it out there in case you do find that you need
That's terrific.
more than your donations.
Yeah, that's terrific. And if we have to make some major purchases, that's something that we could tie into. And CanOak has been a tremendous partner for the hospital and for the clinic, and been very generous, and so we definitely appreciate Can-Oakland and all that they've done, you know, and all they continue to do for the whole community.
If someone were to want to donate to the Care Network, what would that process look like, or what would those steps look like?
To donate?
To donate. That's what I said.
Yeah, to donate or receive services, they just need to call the Caldwell Regional Medical Center, 845-6492, and they'll help make that connection back to the Care Network. And we'll reach out to those folks and help facilitate that donation or the loan of equipment or the ride. If they call that hospital number, they can make. That's how they make the connection to do any and everything. So if they want to make a donation, they would just call the hospital. The hospital would then put that person in touch. They'd leave their number, and then the hospital would help make that connection. I'd reach out to that person, and they would make their donation to the Care Network, and you know, we can facilitate that transaction. Same with a ride or, you know, borrowing the equipment. If they just call that one number, they call that number, then they're able to, you know, connect with us for all those kinds of services.
Were you involved in any way before you moved back to Caldwell, or is this just something you kind of got into since moving back?
Just since I moved back. When we moved back a few years ago, I was asked to consider being on the hospital board. And so I still don't know how it happened, but somehow I was on the hospital board, and all of a sudden, then I was also a member of the Caldwell Care Network, and then our president, who'd been the president for a long time, Larry Rader, great person in Caldwell. You know, it was time for him to sort of step down and kind of step away from things, and somehow I got wrangled into then being, you know, the head of the Caldwell Care Network, and that's I got wrangled into doing it.
And that is usually how it works in Caldwell.
Yeah, but now I've wrangled some of my friends into it.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
that's
how it
what
works
we
in
love.
Caldwell.
That's the true success.
Yeah, that's how it works. And I'm after some more. So yeah.
I'm curious. I've never been curious, probably before I started at Can-Oakland, how different boards function. How did you become involved with that? Is that like you have like a nominating committee, and they go out and find people for the openings, kind of like the Can-Oakland board? When it's time for an election, a nominating committee goes out and finds whoever the board seat is open? Or is it like you were just approached one-on-one and then there was some sort of election?
Yes. Yes to both. There was before I was on the board and I just moved to Caldwell. I don't remember who it was. Somebody resigned for, you know, sometimes people have to resign. And so some people approached me. I attended a meeting, and at some point in time during that meeting, they needed to fill that seat. Then the current board that was there, they voted and voted me in. So I was not on the board, and 10 minutes later I was on the board.
Oh, okay, so the board votes for the open position?
Right, board. Yeah, there's not a general election, just the board votes to, and we do the nomination thing more informally. If we know that there's an election coming up, or that somebody's going to resign their seat or retire or whatever, we'll just sort of begin to cast our net out there, our network that we all have, you know, in a small town, and talk about, you know, who would be a good candidate, who would be interested. And then this last go around, then we invited those people to come to the board meeting and let them ask questions, let them get a feel for what it's like to be on the board, and then they could decide if that's something that they were interested in. And then we had an election, and we voted our new board members in, and I would assume that's the way it will continue in the future.
You touched on something, and I probably have said this 5 or 10 times now, of how happy or proud I am that when I say I'm from a small town, I'm from a small town, a complete small town where we have all of those things that you just listed off: the school, the community building, or the community, you know, all of the recreation that we have, the hospital, now the new daycare. Like, there are some people who say, I'm from a small town and it is, 20 people left, 20 houses left, and it's not even a town anymore. I'm just so grateful that it is a beautiful little town and it has everything.
We have this unique, it's just Caldwell. I mean, you go back to that from a small town, like you can sit there and listen to them say it, and then you try to explain to them what Caldwell is. And if they haven't been here and visited, they don't feel that. I always say Caldwell has this magic. It always brings back the people that have actually experienced, and I don't know. It's just
I agree. There's so many great things about Caldwell. The other day we had our grandson. He lives in Wichita. He's 2. We brought him down here for the day. Went to the city park. Great city park. I mean, awesome. Went out there and played. It was a beautiful day. And there are little towns around Kansas don't have that. They don't have the ability. When he gets older, we'll take him to the swimming pool. And it's great to be able to do that. And in a lot of small towns in Kansas, just they don't have it. And Caldwell has it.
Was there anything that when you did move back and you were living here finally after your 2 years that surprised you or that you hadn't noticed? Because I know you visited throughout the years, but is there anything that was surprising or sticks out?
Yeah, I think a couple of things were a little bit surprising after we lived here for a while, and one was just looking kind of up and down Main Street. There were some issues with some of the buildings downtown, and so that was something that I guess I didn't really pay attention to just visiting. You come and visit family, and you do, you come to homecoming and do those things. You don't necessarily spend a lot of time staring at the buildings or, studying them. But I'm happy to say over the last several years, there's been a lot of interest in and a lot of investment in the downtown area. And it's better. It's better now than it was 5 or 6 years ago. There's some new businesses and some, things happening that are exciting.
We also need to touch on the momentum that we have right now with everything that is going on with, all the tourist things that we're doing. Those people that say that our town is kind of just not moving forward. You need to look at the momentum of our downtown. A town our size, 1,100 people, you go to any other town in Kansas with that many people and walk down their downtown.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there are a lot of attractive things about Caldwell for, increasing our population, whether it's retirees or families. That there are so many good things that are happening, and just in the 5 or 6 years that we've been back, we've been able to see that momentum and see how things are improving, and comparing it to other towns in the region. As I said earlier, Caldwell is moving in the right direction. We just have to keep that momentum going and continue to reach out to friends and family and associates and connections and say, it's a great place, and come and take a look. And we can all do our part to make that happen.
So we have we've had a lot of different people on the podcast so far, but sometimes it seems like a common theme is, or what I can see from living here is, the more you involve yourself or the more you experience in Caldwell or your small town, the happier or more fulfilling it is. Do you feel like that? And do you think people forget exactly how much is going on? That it's not just, I don't want to be a part of the hospital. I don't want to volunteer for this. I feel like we have 50,000 things to volunteer for or to just be a part of.
Yeah, I think there's lots of great opportunities for people in Caldwell to connect and to give back. And it does feel good to give back. And that's, Tim mentioned earlier, Caldwell's a special place. The reason it's special is because we have a lot of great people that are willing to reach out, connect, help out. One of the things I'm seeing is, I would love to see that next group of citizens in Caldwell that are the 25 to 35 or 40 age group. I really would like to see them get more active. And I know how difficult it is. I raised a family. I worked full time. There's only a certain number of hours in the day. So pick your thing. Find one thing. If you haven't been involved in anything in Caldwell, pick one thing, you know, this year in 2025 and connect and get involved. And you haven't been connected to something, you know, make this your year, 2025, get connected to something, volunteer, do something. You will feel better about yourself, and you're helping your community.
Well, Joey, thank you for coming and sharing information about the Caldwell Care Network, and
And your personal story
yes,
of
and
coming
back, and
we love the story of a returner.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Can Oakley. Can Oakley's a huge partner and a huge, contributes a lot, time, resources, money, energy. So Caldwell needs Can Oakley, and we definitely appreciate Can.
We didn't tell him to say that.
yeah, not a paid sponsor.
I'll take my $5 later.
Yeah.